Hey everybody. So it's been now about 2 weeks since I last updated y'all, and a whole lot has changed in that time period. It's actually crazy how many decisions and how many twists and turns this project has taken since then. But first off, I was thinking for a really long time when we built the sunroom about the concept of skylights. I have always been interested in skylights, even as a kid. And as like a teenager who got really into like architecture and design, I always thought the concept of a skylight is cool. Like the fact that you can see the roof, you can see through it, you can see the sky, you could see, the sunlight, you can see the outdoors. It's crazy. Like the idea of having natural light inside of your space like that always made me super interested. And I really wanted to do skylights whenever we built the sunroom, but ultimately Lena and I decided it would have got way too hot in there if we put skylights. It would have been like a greenhouse with all the windows and skylights and everything. It would have just been insane. And honestly, with the way the room is now, I'm kind of glad that we didn't do skylights because that room gets a lot of direct sunlight around the afternoon and it would be really hot. So we didn't do skylights in there, but I've been thinking about them still. And I thought for a while, like maybe when we redo this brick building over here, like maybe whenever we make that into something, I'll put skylights in there. And I've been thinking about that for a while and like warming up to the idea. And I've always been confused because I wanted to put a metal roof on this building and this one. And skylights and metal roofs don't really mesh well. Like it's super hard to install a skylight in a metal roof properly. You really need a lot of professional tools to do that. And you need to be like a roofing professional with like a metal brake and a metal press and all of these things to like fabricate the flashing. And I can't do that. Like that's beyond my scope. I'm confident if I was really forced to, I could do it. But I know it would take a lot of time and a lot of learning to do. So I kind of have thought, can't do skylights and metal roofs. So I was on a business trip about 2 weeks ago, and I was sitting there, and I was in my hotel. I arrived super late at night, and I just found myself thinking about what I was building here, thinking about this project. And I thought to myself, I really do want skylights. I feel like skylights could be really cool. Like, I feel like it could be awesome to have the outdoors inside, like have all of this natural light. Honestly, with the roof on, this thing is a lot darker than I originally intended, and that kind of freaks me out a little bit. I don't want it to feel like a cave. I want it to feel like a nice, inviting space that you want to be in. So I was doing research on Lowe's and Home Depot's websites, trying to figure out how much it would cost to get skylights. A while ago, when I first thought about skylights, Velux, which is like the brand for skylights, their skylights were like pretty affordable, like $200. The flashing kit was maybe like $100. And I always thought that was like a crazy deal. I always thought skylights would be like $1,000 each. Velux unfortunately has raised their pricing in the last 2 to 3 years. They took their like more premium model of skylight and made it the base model. So now that base model that they sell, the cheapest one starts at like 600, $700. So that's out of my price range. Unfortunately, I was kind of like down after that. I was like, man, I got into this headspace and I thought skylights would be awesome, but I can't get them now. So I went on Facebook Marketplace and I found someone selling 4 skylights, 4 operable skylights, like skylights that can open. I never anticipated getting something like that, but they were selling 4 of them and the listing said $400. I was super confused by this listing. I was like, is this $400 for all of them, or is this $400 each? I know these operable skylights can run like $800, $900 each. So I was like, what is this? Like, so I messaged the man, and it was just like this old guy. And he was like, oh yeah, I got these skylights. They have some termite damage on them. I bought them for a project and ended up putting a metal roof, and I realized metal roofing and skylights are hard, so I just never put the skylights in. So went back and forth with him over the course of like 2 weeks. And then finally, he got me more photos of the skylights and gave me more information. And I was like, all right, I think I want to buy them. So I was still confused. It said $400 in the listing. So I asked him, is this $400 for each or $400 for all of them? And this man was like, I don't know, the price is negotiable. And I didn't want to offend him. Like, I really didn't want to offend the guy. I know how much these skylights can cost because because I did a lot of research on this. And I didn't really want to commit to a price. I didn't want to offend him and like lose the purchase. So I asked him what he would be willing to sell them for. And this man was like, oh, they're termite damage. It's going to take some work. How about $250 or $200 for all of them? Couldn't believe that. I could not believe that this guy said that. So next day, I bought these skylights, met him like an hour away. I paid him $250 instead of $200 because he drove an hour to come bring them to me. But yeah, we now have 4 operable Velux skylights. I still need to buy the flashing kits. I'm probably only going to put 2 in this building, probably because really I can only fit 2 per side, and this side is the only one that actually sees light. The other side is under a big tree, so I don't really need to look at the big tree. I'm never going to see sun there. So I'm going to put them on this side, and I'll probably save the other 2 for whatever other projects. But it's crazy. That's one update. Hold up, I got to move with this sun. Okay, so my second update. I'm no longer doing a metal roof. I thought I was doing a metal roof. I thought I was going to do like a cheap metal roof that I can easily replace if it gets damaged. So I have skylights now. Skylights plus metal roof don't work. Skylights work well with tile roofs, they work well with shingle roofs, and they also work well with slate roofs. So another thing about me, I am really obsessed with the idea of long-lived building materials and long-lived buildings. Like the concept that you can build a building and it'll be there past your lifetime is crazy to me. That other people can enjoy it. I guarantee you a lot of this modern construction that's being built today, a lot of these like tract homes and everything, I don't think they're going to be there in 100 years. They're built out of super cheap materials, and they're super moisture sensitive. That roof fails, that siding fails, that drainage fails, you're going to have really big problems, and they're going to start falling apart. I'm obsessed with the idea of long-lived building materials, long-lived buildings like our house that's been here for like 130 years. That's crazy to me. I know I'm American, and for Europeans, it's like nothing, but it's just crazy, the thought of that. So I have always been super interested by the concept of slate roofs. Slate roofs that can last over 100 years. There are slate roofs on really old houses here, on buildings in the French Quarter. I think at one time our house actually had a slate roof based upon some of the debris in our attic. So I've been really interested in the concept of a slate roof for a while. And because I'm no longer doing a metal roof, I started looking around, and I spent a good bit of money on some slate, made some mistakes, learned from it, but we're doing a slate roof now. So let me show y'all the slate that we bought, and let's talk about it a little bit. Okay, so here is my pile of slate. It's kind of crazy. It's a lot of slate, I'll be honest. So these slates right here, in these blue bins, I'm just going to expose myself here. I paid $1 per slate. And at the time that I purchased them, I thought, wow, that's a crazy deal, $1 per slate. I unfortunately have learned a lot since then, and I've realized $1 per slate is a better deal if you're talking about huge slates like this. Like 14 by 16, 12 by 16, $1 per slate is a pretty good deal for those. But these, I bought them. I thought it was a good deal. I overpaid. I paid $1,000 for all of these. 1,000 pieces of slate, which unfortunately at the time I thought would do the whole roof. My math was way off because I didn't understand how much headlap and everything you need with slates. I read a whole book on slates, the Slate Roofing Bible, and learned a lot. But unfortunately, this wouldn't do the whole thing. So then on Facebook Marketplace, I looked around, and there was a woman about an hour away selling a pile of slate in her backyard. These slates are much bigger. I paid $300 for these, and we got 700 slates. That's a much better deal. 50 cents per slate. I feel like I'm like atoning for my sins with these. Like I overpaid, so I got to bring the average cost down. And then also, I just found on Craigslist someone that has a pile of slates in their garage, giving them away for free. So I'm going to go pick those up too. I don't think I need them. I'm pretty sure from all of my calculations, I have all the slates I need here. But anyway, this is what we're going to be doing. And if you're not familiar with slate, it is a rock. Like, it is literally a rock pulled out of the ground, split up. It comes from slate deposits. In the US, the slates come from Vermont, Pennsylvania, or Maine. Specifically Bangor in Maine, which funny enough I've been to, and I saw giant slates and I thought it was super cool, all the slate on homes there. But yeah, this is what we're going to be doing as a roof. I'll talk more about this when we get to it. Unfortunately, the roof is on hold for a while because I need a lot of materials and tools to do this. So that's on hold for a second. So we'll get back to the roof at another time. But let's talk about these skylights for a second. Okay, so these are the skylights that I'm going to install. They are operable, and I had to buy a flashing kit for them. Unfortunately, these skylights have been sitting for a while, so this one's got termite damage. I'm going to have to totally replace the wood in this one. But the other ones are generally, like, fine. Like, this is the only one with significant damage. So I'm going to hold these two, and I'm going to work on them over time. But for right now, I'm going to install these two over here. The boxes are shredded because they've been in storage for a super long time, but yeah, I got two skylights right here. Perfectly fine, just been sitting for a while. They're a little scratched. One's a little dented, but that's okay. I got them for like a ridiculous deal, so that's what happens when you buy things secondhand. But yeah, I'm going to install these skylights and going to do a slate roof. And then the last thing. All right, so the one last thing here is these windows. So I, for the longest time, have been trying to figure out what I'm doing for these windows, and that's kind of why I paused on framing. Started working on the roof and just kind of forgot about finishing the framing. So I need to put a window up there and then a window on the back. I'm gonna put like some gable end windows. Maybe it's a clerestory window, depending on how you think about it. But yeah, my plan for the longest time was actually to install these windows in the back, the ones with glass, not the one without glass. I found these windows on the side of the road, and they were like just sitting on the street corner when I was driving around, so I picked them up. And these are good windows. They're covered in lead paint, but they're a little small. So I've been kind of thinking about that for a while because they're a little small, and I don't want to minimize the windows here. I want it to look nice. I want it to be bright. I want it to be nice and airy and get a lot of airflow. So I went to the Green Project yesterday, and for $8 each, I bought these two windows. So this window is almost the perfect size to install up top in the front here. And then this window back here, this one's a little bit bigger. I'm gonna actually install it sideways. But that window is going to be installed back there, and that one can be bigger because I'm not restricted by anything, so I can frame that however I want. But yeah, this is what we're going to do now. We got these windows. A lot of things are now sorted out now that I have the windows, so I can actually finish framing, and it's kind of time sensitive that I do that because this Friday, it is Sunday right now, this Friday is 3 months since I bought all this lumber, so the return policy is closing. So I need to finish framing, and I need to return any excess lumber that I have because this project, just this framing and stuff, has taken so much longer than I anticipated. And honestly, like, I just want to get it done. I want to get past the framing phase. I want to get to the point where I'm, like, doing electrical and, like, you know, able to step in the space, work in the space, visualize the space. Right now, this is just kind of like, it's just kind of a concept. It's not fully fleshed out. It doesn't feel super real yet. So I just want to get past this point. So yeah, what we're going to do today, finish framing, and hopefully by the end of the day, we can be at a point where we can return all of this lumber. So yeah, let's get to framing. All right, so the first thing that we need to work on here is actually these front windows. So I talked about this a while back, but we do have these windows that I've had since, gosh, since we built our laundry room. So like since we bought the house, I'm gonna put them up here. Finally made a decision on how I'm gonna install them. They're gonna be hinged at the top. We'll talk about that much later when we get there. But for right now, at least I know how I'm doing the framing. All right, 2 down, many more to go. I got 2 big windows and then 2 transoms. One of those transoms may not be that much work. But yeah, at least I'm making progress, but gosh, it is tiring. I'm gonna take a break for a second. All right. All right. I finished framing all of these walls, all of these windows. It's hot. It is super hot. I'm gonna go inside. I'm gonna take a break for a while because it's like the sunniest part of the day. And I'll clean up later. I'll just clean up once the sun goes down a little bit. Jeez. All right. I'll see y'all later. Hey everybody. So it's now been a few days since I finished the framing, and I have been taking it easy since then. It was like a really big effort last weekend to get all this framing in, and I kind of wore myself out. So I finished on a Tuesday with all of this framing, and then Wednesday it rained like all day long, and our power actually went out Wednesday night because we had a really bad rainstorm and a bunch of transformers blew in our neighborhood. So we didn't have power pretty much all of Wednesday night. We got it back Thursday, kind of like midway through the day, but Lena and I actually couldn't work that day because we both work from home, and we actually were trying to figure out what to do, and we decided to get a new cat during that time. So just some like transparency in what's going on outside of this project. We added a new member of our family. We now have a new kitten, and actually she had clawed me in the face whenever we brought her home and were trying to give her a bath. So dealing with that right now, and really for the last few days I've just been like enjoying having her here and not really thinking too much about this. But it's now Saturday and it's seeming to be a sunny day. It was supposed to rain. It was super dark earlier, but now it's like sunny and blue skies. So I'm gonna work on installing these skylights today because I finally got the flashing in, and I'm really excited to do that. So let's take a look at the skylights and let's talk about the full scope of what we have to do here. Because honestly, it's a little bit more than I bargained for, and I really wish we had planned this from the beginning, but what can you do? So let's look at these skylights. Okay, so as I talked about before, here are the 2 skylights. The other 2 are actually now under a tarp, and they're kind of like sitting out of the way. These are the 2 that we're going to install. They are super dusty, super dirty, but nothing wrong with that. We got a good deal on them. So there's a few things about these skylights that I want to mention. First of all, if you look at this, it's kind of like a brownish tone. It may be hard to see on camera, but these are like brownish. And I got my flashing in, And you can see this is like grayish. These skylights are an older model. Been sitting in somebody's, shop for a really long time, and they're a little bit of an older model. They unfortunately don't even make the flashing kit for these anymore. So I had to buy a new flashing kit for the newer model skylights, which the manufacturer claims will not fit, and they say that they will not value the warranty on these old ones if you use the new flashing kit, but you can't find the old flashing kit. So we're gonna just make do. So I took the flashing kit apart, I looked at it all, looked at the skylights, tried to figure out how it all pieces together, and I see no reason as to why this can't work. It may take a little bit of field modification, but I'm not scared of that at all. I'm confident we could make this work. So we're gonna work on installing these skylights today. So these skylights are going to need a hole cut in the ceiling. And then after that, they're attached with these brackets down here. And you take these brackets off, and then they slide in and stuff, and you screw them down to the attic or to the ceiling. We're gonna have to alter this framing up here. So this is why I'm a little concerned. I did not plan for this. In all transparency, when we had planned this, I did not think I was putting skylights in. I would have framed this differently had I known that. But that's life. The skylights almost exactly fit within these joist bays, or rafter bays. They're gonna be a little off, because as you see over here, this side is a little over to the left, and then this side, that rafter on the end is a few inches off of the wall. So I think that the skylights may be a few inches off. I really don't want to have to cut any of these rafters. I'm hoping that I could just put them in between the rafter bays. But I gotta kind of look at it and see what looks good and what feels good and just figure it out from there. But yeah, so we're gonna get these skylights. We're gonna measure them. We're gonna cut holes in these rafter bays, probably maybe over here or over here. I don't know, and maybe there or there. I don't know. I'm not really sure what's the best way to do this. It's kind of confusing, and I'm not sure right now. But yeah, that's what we're gonna have to do. And we'll just take it from there and hope that it doesn't rain this whole time. I'm hoping we can get these skylights in without it raining. So let me read the instructions and figure out how big this hole is, and then we can get to measuring. Okay, so now we've marked out all of these rafters, and I know exactly where the rough opening needs to go for this window. So I unfortunately am going to have to cut 2 of these rafters, and then I'm going to have to reinforce it with some other pieces. I think it's called bridging. It's not, yeah, I think it's called bridging whenever you do this for attic ladders, stuff like that. Let me show you exactly what we're going to do before we make these cuts, just so that y'all are on the same page for what's going on. Okay, so it may be a little hard to see up here, because I have pencil lines, but you see there's a line right there. There's a line right there. Oh gosh, it's on my finger. And then there's a line right there. There's a line right down here. Then there's a line at the bottom down here. And then there's another line. Okay, so basically what we're gonna do is we're going to cut this piece right there, and then we're gonna cut it further down at the bottom. So we're gonna cut this section out. And then we're gonna have a piece that goes all the way across here, and then another one that goes all the way across the bottom. And then I can put in some pieces of wood for the sides of my skylight. And that will make up the rough opening. I'm gonna have to put in some brackets to support this, because I am literally cutting through the structure of my roof here. But that's how you do it. That's how you're supposed to do it for skylights. I would have framed this differently had I known about this in the first place, but that's okay. So let me go get my PPE and my multi-tool, and we can cut this rafter. All right, got my glasses, got my hearing protection, and got my multi-tool. Let's cut through this. So that's 47 millimeters. So it is a new day, yet another day. I got a ton done by cutting out all of the framing that I worked really hard on yesterday and reinforcing it so that we can install our skylights. So that's what we're going to do today. We are going to work on installing our skylights. But before we do that, I want to actually reinforce what I put in yesterday a little bit. I realized after thinking about it a lot, like, what I did is probably super kosher. Like, I know that people build things this way, and I know the code's like super over-designed, but still, I can't help but feel a little guilty for like cutting out a lot of these structural members, like a lot of the structural members, like a large percentage of the structural members on this side of the roof. It makes me feel a little uncomfortable, so I'm actually going to reinforce it with some brackets and some big screws, just so that I know that like this is super solid, everything's going to be supported, and whenever I get up there to install the skylights, or whenever the skylights are there, I just know that like this part of the roof is not going to collapse, because I don't like the idea that it's just a few nails holding everything together. So I'm going to really put it together like nice and sturdy. So that's what I'm going to do first, and then we're actually going to install our skylights. It's also cool because yesterday I washed the skylights. They're right over here. Let me show you. So I washed them, and this is like the first time that I've actually like seen them clean. And I know that like they're still, you know, a little dirty. They need some Windex and everything on the outside. That's just life. They're in pretty good condition. There's a scuff right here on this one. There's like a scuff on the bottom and like some tape residue that I'll have to get off. And then on this one, I think the only damage is that there's a scuff right down here. And then there's like a little bit of a scuff up here. It didn't really damage the paint too much. But yeah, I mean, these things are in pretty good condition. I'm pretty happy with the way they look. I think they look cool. I think they look good, and they're a good size, and they're going to go up there, right between those two pieces of treated lumber, and then right here. That's where it's going to go. I actually used treated lumber because I ran out of 2x6s, and I said, what the heck, I am not going back to the store. I am just going to finish this job. So that's where we're at right now. That's mentally, physically, spiritually where we're at. We're going to finish this job. Okay, so another unfortunate thing, it's like one of the hottest days of the year now. I didn't really plan for this. Just how life works out. That's how things go. It is like a feels like temperature of over 100 today. Tomorrow it's supposed to be 115 feels like. Crazy feels like temperatures. It's going to be a hot day tomorrow. I'm not looking forward to that. Hopefully I won't be out here working tomorrow. I'm hoping to be inside. But yeah, it's also a warmer part of the day now. It's like about 12:30 because we spent all morning cleaning our house. Like we were cleaning under all of our surfaces, under the bed, under the tub, under the couch and stuff, because our new kitten keeps going under there and moving so much dust, and she gets so dirty. And also, we introduced her to our resident cat this morning. Our resident cat is a super problematic, very mean 5-year-old male who is like, he has behavioral issues. He's like medicated and everything because he gets really stressed. So we introduced them this morning, and it went really well. Actually, I think that she is ready to fight him more than he's ready to fight her. So that's good. Our new kitten seems to be doing well and acclimating. But yeah, unfortunately, it's just later in the day now, and it's super hot. So we're going to get this done. We're going to start with reinforcing, and then we're going to work on these skylights. So let's cut to a montage of me reinforcing all the stuff I did yesterday. All right, I got everything nice and reinforced now, and it all looks pretty good, pretty sturdy. So my next step is actually, let's read the instructions one more time and just confirm, but if I'm right, and if this is all okay, my next step is to cut the holes in the ceiling. I checked the forecast, it's not gonna rain. I went inside, reapplied sunscreen, got my mask, got my PPE, so I'm all ready to go. So let me just double check these instructions and get to cutting. Yeah. 21.5 by 46 7/8. I was like 21.5 by 47. So right here, got the table. Yep, all good to go. So next up, let's cut a hole in the roof. It's crazy. It's crazy how much time I spent on this, how much time I spent putting on the peel and stick membrane and everything, and I'm just gonna cut right through it. But yeah, what can you do? This is how you install skylights. So let's get up there and do it. Wow, you feel the wind? So I read the flashing instructions and the installation instructions for the skylight because I have like a flashing kit and the skylight itself. And this skylight is much older than what I've seen before. I've watched a few videos on YouTube and everybody's installing newer models. And the newer models are super different. They have like a nailing pin and stuff, like a normal window, and that's much more self-explanatory. This one's kind of weird. It's got like some brackets and it actually sits on top of the opening, like it just kind of floats up here on the brackets. I don't know, I feel kind of weird about it, and I feel like the instructions are kind of vague, and also my flashing kit is not actually for the skylight I'm installing, so I'm gonna freestyle a little bit. I'm going to, freestyle, use some metal flashing that I have in the yard, use the flashing that they provided in the flashing kit, but I'm gonna make it work. But it really does seem like the next step is just, let's bring the skylight up here and install it, and we can figure out the flashing after it's up here. Just dragging it at this point. Okay, got this up. It was not easy at all. I would not wish this upon my worst enemies. I don't know why they did this. This is unfortunately how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to have a gap under it. Very strange. I don't know why they designed it this way, but it's probably why they made a new model, because this is a very weird idea. Anyway, it's in place, so I can fasten it down and get back to flashing. So thankfully, brought my drill up in advance, so let's screw it down. All right, I got 6 screws in here. It's now secured down. I'm gonna install a lot more screws, but I'm not gonna bore y'all with that. So I'll just update y'all once I get all these screws in. Hello everybody. So it is now the next day. Oh, I did not finish last night. I got a lot done, and as you can see behind me actually, so right here, this is the finished one. Let me give you all a better view. So here is the finished one. You can see all the flashing around it and the peel and stick membrane. Looks pretty good. And this is the other one. It's kind of bright, I will admit. Let me turn down the brightness a little bit. This one's directly in the sun, the other's not. So I got all the metal flashing done. The metal flashing is not pretty. I mean, it definitely looks like a DIY job. I'm not gonna beat myself up over it. I don't have the proper tools, and honestly, like, this is not the primary line of defense. This is just a bonus. So I got pretty far last night with this. I worked until it got dark, and I just had to go inside because I was feeling terrible. I overdid it for sure. So, what we got here is our metal flashing, and we need to cover this with our, I think I'm actually going to do this peel and stick membrane first, and then I'm going to do this underlayment on top of everything. I did it the opposite way, but now that I'm looking at it, this is kind of peeling up now. It doesn't seem to be sticking well, which kind of freaks me out a little bit, so I'm hoping this works out. Hoping that this peel and stick doesn't come up, or the Velux flashing. So that's what we got to do today. I'm pretty happy with where we're at. It is not yet too hot out here. It's actually kind of nice. It's supposed to be extremely hot today, like the hottest day of the year. Heat index, I think of, or it feels like temperature of the city reported of 110 degrees as expected. So I want to get this done super fast. Let's get up here and finish this thing. Hey everybody. So yesterday it rained, and it's been the first time it rained since I installed these skylights, and I'm really bummed out. I'm really sad because they leaked. So let me turn the camera around and show y'all what I saw yesterday. Okay, so yesterday I came in here because I was just doing something in the house and I needed my ladder, so I came and got the ladder that I had been using and standing on to cut all the holes and everything, my yellow ladder. So I came in here, and everything looked kind of good. Like, I thought it looked fine. I looked at the skylights, so I was like, oh yeah, they look good. I don't see any, like, water dripping from them or anything, so it seems like it's okay. But then I moved my ladder, and I unfortunately realized that this piece of plywood had a puddle of water on it. Like, not a lot. It was like pooling right under where the ladder was. It seemed like it had just been like a small few drops, but still, small drops. And then I actually got up on the ladder and looked at this one, and there was like a few tiny drops. Super annoying. Really, really frustrating. I felt super defeated. So yeah, I looked at this and I was like, well, I guess we gotta redo it all. Hey everybody. So I actually finished flashing my skylights not last night, but the night before. And I'm really happy with the way they turned out. So I finished at like 10:30 at night, and I started, I think, around like 4. So it took like 6.5 hours to take everything off and redo it and go to the store and everything. It was rough, but I'm really glad that I did it because it rained yesterday, and it seems like everything is now nice and dry. Got up there on a ladder, looked at my skylights, also got on the roof while it was raining, and there was like water pooling behind my flashing. My skylight on the inside didn't have any drips or anything, so it seems like this was super successful. And I unfortunately couldn't film all of it because it got super dark. I was up there with a headlamp and my camera died. It was a whole thing. It was like really kind of stressful, but I'm really glad that I did it. Really glad that I went back and did it right. So let me go and show y'all what it looks like up there now, because it looks a good bit different than it did before. A good bit messier too, but I'm pretty confident it's going to stay nice and dry. All right, so now that we're up here, the first thing that you can see is my river of tar. I'll admit, I kind of maybe went crazy with the tar and did a little bit too much. But basically what I did is I took all my old flashing off, and then I first put this layer of tape down. This tape is super similar to what came with the skylight itself, but I ran out of the skylight tape. So I used part of the skylight tape, and then I used part of this tape. I taped all the edges down, and then I made sure to like put extra tape and like be extra secure around the corners. And then I put my metal flashing back down, and I covered all of the edges and the corners with tar on that. And then I put this last layer of tape down. And this last layer is to like protect that metal flashing so it hopefully doesn't rust long term. And then I just went crazy with the tar. I like hit all the edges, hit all of the corners and everything, made sure that no water was getting under this, made sure no water was getting in my edges up here or down there. And then at the top, I put a very generous layer of tar all over this whole thing to make sure that no water was going to, get in. And it was going to be nice and secure. And then this morning, actually, I put down this piece of tar paper. I was reading the flashing instructions again, and I realized that they said to put this down so that if the tape comes up long term, it'll make sure that no water gets under the tape that's down here. So this is just to make sure that the water stays up on top of the tape. So did the same thing over here, and this is how you can tell it's working. I think because there's a tree, this side gets a lot more water, but like you can see, this thing's holding water like a bathtub. It's crazy. It is super crazy. So this has not leaked. I also checked the other side. The other side hasn't leaked either. So I'm really happy with it. In the real world, once there's a roof on here, there should be nowhere near as much water hitting this. This is honestly like a secondary layer of protection, but just knowing that it can hold water like this and not leak, really encouraging. I'm really happy with it. But yeah, this is what it looks like. I'll admit it's ugly. It looks super ugly. It looks like I just went crazy with the tar, but it's not leaking, and that's all that matters. And ultimately, this will be covered with a roof. So, yeah, I mean, not gonna complain about it. It's more for a function than aesthetics. But yeah, my skylights, they're awesome. I'm really happy with them now that they're not leaking. I was pretty depressed about it, honestly, when they started leaking the other day. I was really sad. I started wondering if I made a mistake cutting into the roof, installing all of this, but I'm really happy with the way it came out now. And yeah, I think that this is awesome. So let me get back down off the roof so that I don't slide off. All right, and now that we've gotten all of that done, I think it's time to wrap up this video. So I'm really happy with the way that these skylights came out. I feel like I always say, like, I'm really happy with everything that we do, but like, I'm really excited about it. I feel like it's cool. I've always wanted skylights, even as a kid, whenever I saw skylights or just the thought of a skylight always made me super excited, and it's really cool to like have my own now. Granted, it's not inside of the house, but that's okay. Like, this is awesome. I think it's really cool, and I'm really glad that I have them, and I'm kind of jazzed that I got 2 more skylights that I can find something else to do with. But yeah, these things took a lot out of me. I'll admit it. Like, I was super frustrated with them at the beginning, especially whenever I spent so many hours and multiple days working on them and they still leaked. I'm hoping that long term I can stay excited about my skylights and I'm not going to get frustrated a few years down the road. That's honestly the thing that I'm the most scared about, is that I cut a bunch of holes in my perfectly good roof. And I really hope, like 5-10 years from now, I don't look at this and I'm like, why did I do this? Why did I make that mistake? I'm hoping that I can, be confident in my decisions and be happy with it, and long term not run into any major issues with them. So fingers crossed that this all works out and they continue to be, top of mind and positive whenever I talk about them. But I guess I'll have to update y'all on that in a few years. But anyway, that just about wraps up this video. We did a lot here. We went from having a fully structural roof to cutting holes in it, taking all that structure out, replacing it, putting skylights in, having leaks in my roof. It's been like a roller coaster up and down this whole time. And ultimately, I'm really happy with where we're at now. So I think we can go ahead and wrap up this video. Next video, we're probably going to be installing the sheathing. I actually got my parents over here yesterday, and they helped me go to Lowe's and purchase all of the sheathing whenever Lena unfortunately had to work that day. So got all of my sheathing, and I think that's what we're probably going to do next, is put sheathing on this thing and start getting it dried in and start treating it like an actual building and like an actual room rather than just something that's open to the elements. So thank y'all for watching, and definitely check out our other videos if you haven't already, and definitely tune in next time. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.